Hi,
Hi,
how
how
are
are you?
you?
Good. Well, welcome, Helen. A
Thank you.
couple of, uh, since this is our first one, it will be on the webpage as, uh, Conversation One, Helen and Steve.
Okay.
We use first names only. We didn't talk about that, I think, when we went over
Okay.
the ground rules. But the ground rules for the conversation can be found on the website under About Common Ground, because that's what we're going to try to do. One
Okay.
of us, and at this point, let's not disclose, is
Okay.
A Biden supporter, and
Okay.
one of us supported Mr. Trump.
Hmm.
And we've decided to see if we can't find, notwithstanding those differences, things that we can agree to try to work on that we can both agree are good for everybody.
Okay.
Great. So let's start. This is the first conversation. There'll be weekly half hours, and it's just
Okay.
about sort of uh, just getting to know each other. Let's not talk about either Mr. Trump or Mr. Biden.
Yes.
Uh, uh, well,
That's a
I'll,
really sore, unfortunately, it's such a sore subject. I mean, you used to be like a Republican or a Democrat. Nobody cared, like you vote for this guy and I vote. I mean, but now it's like people want to kill you if you're the wrong, in the wrong camp. I mean, it's so hostile, there's so much animosity. It's
yeah,
really sad to me.
it is, and I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. It is very sad. We've got to, um, start thinking about uh, disagreeing on policy. That's American. I mean, that's the First Amendment. You make your case and
Of
uh,
course.
the whatever legal means. But to view somebody as a fellow American as a enemy is, that's just really a step too far. So we're going to see if we can't, starting with you and me, get some other people involved and hopefully
Okay.
see if this can work. So uh, I'll start out. About me is born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. Uh, Dad came for work to San Diego in 1964, where I stayed through Crawford High School and San Diego State University. They went back to Nebraska, but boy, at that point in my life, I thought I died and went to heaven. And I didn't leave San Diego, but I went back for law school. I graduated from Creighton Law School, practiced there for, it was about 8 years, all the while trying to get back to San Diego. And finally, we did in 1978, and we've been here since. Uh, I
So who's with
have
you and your wife? Who's we?
Uh, yes, we is my wife Linda, my fifth grade sweetheart. We just celebrated our 51st anniversary,
Mazel tov.
and thank you very much. Yeah, I made a lot of bad decisions, but I made at least one good one. But in any event,
That's
um,
why.
yeah, that is life. Um, my father passed away a long time ago. My mother is 96 and in a nursing home. I have two great kids who are married to two wonderful people. Yeah, I tell my son, don't lose this one because I'm keeping her. Uh, and we have been blessed with two lovely granddaughters, 5 and 8.
Oh,
In one case, 8 uh, going on 32, and
yeah.
5 going on like 16.
Uh,
Uh,
no, it's so crazy that they're so. One day they're a baby, a toddler, and the next day they're like wearing lipstick and nail polish. It's like,
yeah, I
what
mean, they're just worldly. Okay, so that's enough about me to get started. How about you?
Well, I was born in Australia, actually. Actually, my mother was born in Israel, or it was called Palestine at the time, in 1927. And she immigrated, her family emigrated to Melbourne, Australia. My father was born in London, England in 1920, and they immigrated to Australia in 1932. I just tried to imagine my little grandparents, like shtetl people, going on a ship from England to Australia in 1932. It would be like me going to Mars. I mean, I mean, imagine. I mean, they didn't have money. They didn't go on the Queen Mary or anything like that. Anyway. But both of my parents grew up in Australia. I have tons of relatives there, cousins, and my dad's cousins. And I've been back a few times and I've met them, and they're lovely, lovely people. And it's a great country, by the way, beautiful. So we came to America, I don't know, when I was like 6 or 7, something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I became naturalized. We started off in New York, and then we went to Detroit, and we had to stay near a border in order to wait for our papers, our immigration papers. So Detroit is on the border of Windsor, Ontario. You probably know that. So we actually lived in Windsor, Ontario. My dad worked in Detroit. It's like the people from Tijuana that come to San Diego. He went every day until we got our papers. And then after Detroit, which was horrible, especially after Melbourne, Australia, which is like San Diego paradise, right? We moved to Los Angeles by the time I was around 10. So I actually grew up in Los Angeles from the age of 10 till I got married here in 1972 at the Hotel del Coronado. So, so I've been in San Diego for a lot. My brothers went to Crawford. Did you start in 1964 or did you graduate in 1964?
No, I was a junior in 1964, and I
Okay.
graduated or 64, 65, and then I graduated 66. Yeah.
My brothers might have been in your class. My brother was Les Miller and David Miller. I don't know if you remember them. Anyway,
When I got to Crawford, there were 4,100 students.
okay.
There were 1,100, and I didn't know a soul walking onto that campus from Nebraska. They were just building a new high school, Patrick Henry, and there were classrooms in the parking lot, on top of each other in the parking lot. It was just
Okay.
crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. When I started teaching there were 1,200 students, the same
So
campus.
are you a lawyer or a teacher or both?
Well, I practiced law for about 30 years um, and retired from the practice. And then I went into business for about 10 years, designing and building swimming pools. And then I
Oh,
retired and started to volunteer at Crawford. And through a very serendipitous sequence of events, I ended up teaching full-time in a classroom at Crawford for about 8 years.
oh, that's so cool, teaching in your old high school. That must have felt really funny. Yeah, really.
It was great. There were I had 2 teachers that still did substitute teaching work. My my old coach was my substitute whenever I was away for professional development or illness or whatever. It's
Wow,
crazy.
that's
Yeah,
amazing. Really great.
yeah.
Well, so. Anyway, all my relatives are dead now. My dad passed away 2 years ago. He was 98, which is really a shame because he wanted to live to be 100 and he wanted to stay alive long enough to see the Dodgers win the pennant. And he just missed it. I'm sure he's like really pissed. He loved the Dodgers. So
That's yeah. Going to school, uh, coming from Nebraska, we're big college football fans, gigantic Husker fans, right? And so, my first day in class, I would explain to my kids that every classroom had its priorities. And just so we're clear, in this class, it's the University of Nebraska football team. And the first thing I thought I would teach them is the Nebraska fight song. And in my first class ever, there are something like 60 languages and dialects on that campus with 1,200 kids. It's
66
place,
0? 6
yes,
0?
63 language and dialects. We have multiple kids from the same country that don't understand each other from different countries. And in any event, I taught them the fight song, and the kids were so wonderful. They're mostly refugees, over 40% of the kids. And so the first Saturday, Nebraska loses, and this young Cambodian girl in the 10th grade comes up to me in the morning with a plate. And she says, I understand that the University of Nebraska lost its football match, and I knew you'd be feeling down. So my mom and I baked you some Cambodian cookies, and we hope this will make it better.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's really, really sweet.
They really, those kids are just wonderful, wonderful kids. In any event, so, all right, let's, I didn't even start a clock. We're supposed to go for like 30 minutes. But I really was like stimulated by your first comments. Because again, without disclosing which candidate you supported, I can tell you that I have had friendships affected by the difference. And some long friendships. The first guy I ever met in San Diego in 1964, and I disagree. And it has, we used to talk all the time, and now it's like a little text, "How you doing?" once in a while.
It's really sad. I have a niece who hates me now. I'm her aunt. I have friends who I grew up with that I was in BBG with, in 7th grade, that won't talk to me anymore. I mean, it's really, really, it's disheartening. It's really, it bothers me. That bothers me more than anything else.
I feel the same way, and it's just so important for somebody to figure out, how we get together. And hopefully, I'm out there looking, if anybody's listening and is interested, on the webpage, you can send me an email and let me know that you're interested.
Are we like just you and me, or is this open to like?
Well, it's not live. It's recording. It's not live.
So are you going to post it somewhere?
Post it, yes, on the website. I'll show it to you first.
Okay.
All right. So in any event, next week, take a thought or two and try to develop a list of 3 issues of significant impact or import, either domestic policy or foreign policy, where you think there might be an opportunity for us to work together toward the same goal. And for any of my cousins, we're going to have a very soft opening, not really gonna mark it until we get a little bit down the road. So it'll be my cousins and your cousins who are friends, whoever you want to give the information to, you can. I'm just sending it out basically to my family and a few friends and colleagues. And I'd like for them, if any of them have viewed it, to contact us and guess, or I guess my cousins would know, but ask yourselves, if I didn't, who do I think was the Trump supporter, and who do you think is the Biden supporter, along with any suggested questions you might have. So 3 issues where you think there might be potential for a Trump supporter and a Biden supporter to get together and promote for the common good.
Three, like,
Yeah, like 3 different issues, like
3 good issues or 3 negative issues or 3.
any issue you want. If you think it's a bad thing and would like to change it for the better, maybe I'll agree. Maybe, we look for another issue. But,
Okay.
just however you want to frame it, just 3 ideas, budget, military.
I think of like one particular one right off the top of my head that really needs to be addressed by every citizen in the United States. But we'll save that, right?
Well, we'll save that for next Monday. Are we going to shoot for 1 or is that work?
Well, today I had to get a COVID test. So that's why I couldn't do it earlier. I think I'll check my busy schedule. Don't go anywhere, don't do anything. Yeah, well, interesting. I play Maj in the morning with Lori Spiegler. You know?
Yes.
Today's my all-night.
As a matter of full disclosure, my sister, Lori, and Helen are good friends. We met in passing like about 30 years ago, but we really have no, we're really getting to learn about each other right now. Other than to nod and say hello, I don't think we've really shared a conversation other than one short phone call. So the 21st is.
Who are you talking about? You and Lori?
Well, that Lori is a connection.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, she has. I think I'm the only one of this persuasion that she knows. that was brave enough to admit it.
There's no need to characterize it as a cholera or something. I mean, it's well, remember, and again for the audience, we're not going to be trying to persuade each other. All we're trying to do here is to see if we can have get to the point where we can have a civil discussion about almost anything. And before we get to that point, we're going to want to see if there's some issues we can work together on. Because I firmly believe we can.
If I have a friend that wants to do this, should I just give her your email address?
The email, teamcourt317@gmail.com. And,
that's you. Your word. Okay.
Yeah. Just send it to me. Yeah. I'm the operation. It's real fancy here. If I live through the technical difficulties, I'll be a very happy man.
I know.
Computer phobic. Okay, well, Helen, thank you very much for your time. And I will, I'll do it 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock is fine for me. 1 o'clock is fine.
I'll send you a confirmation.
Okay.
Great. You have a good night.
I'll tell my friend, her name is Paula Klein Shapiro.
No last names.
Sorry. Her name is Paula.
Okay.
Well, nobody knows. She just got married last week, so no one would know.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Interesting. Right. Okay.
Okay. We'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend.
Okay.
3 good ideas.
Too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.